Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Quick housekeeping notes here. All your lines are muted by default. So please post your questions or comments on the chat window and they shall be addressed towards the end of the session. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our instructor for today. Mr. Rajiv Kumar, who has over 22 years of experience in the IT industry and he has worked with multiple Fortune 100 clients. And Raju has also developed multiple AI-enabled solutions in various fields from fashion to education. Now, before I hand it over to Mr. Rajiv, I would request you the audience, to take a quick poll. Thanks, everyone. Now over to you, Mr. Rajiv.
All right. Thank you, Chen. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So in this session, what we're going to talk about, data science and artificial intelligence as your, if you are pursuing these fields as your career path, what to expect, right? That will be the goal for this session. So just to kind of level set everyone, we're going to talk about what exactly is data science and artificial intelligence, and what kind of skills we will talk about that, and what are the risks to gain these skills, as well as how long it might take to gain these skills. I mean, so we're going to cover both of those, and we're going to look at the career paths in this area, and also how to acquire the skills needed for these fields. All right. So we're going to start with data science, and then we will take up artificial intelligence. And one of the easier way to understand data science is by taking up some examples, right? So let's take some examples. By the way, we will have time for question answering, so you can always put your question answer in the chat, and we will I mean, definitely take it up during this session. All right, so let's take some examples and understand what exactly is. First of all, we'll focus on what is data science, right? So now all of you might be familiar, might be going to this e-commerce site or these video sites like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I mean even in India we have a lot of different websites like Hotstar and all. And when you go there, you're going to see some of the recommendations that come up to you. Again, there are millions of options for us to see. Now, out of those millions of options, what exactly you might like, a person might like, it's a very, very hard problem to solve, if you're doing it, manually. Right? I mean, you have millions of choices. So how do we come up with the right recommendation? Right recommendation? And this sort of work is done using data. So we use the data to come up with these recommendations for each individual, very personalized recommendation. Same approach we apply when somebody goes to an e-commerce site like Amazon or Flipkart. Right, you will see certain recommendation for when you go to these websites. Now, for each of you, the recommendation is very different than the other person. Right? Why? It's because based on what interest you have shown before. Based on that, you will get recommendations which which are most likely to appeal. Again, these recommendations are derived using data. Not only the recommendation, for example, if a company is looking to forecast how much they want to build, right? I mean, every a lot of manufacturing companies have these, this need. They need to forecast how much they're going to build on, say, monthly basis, because that will derive what kind of inventory they need to keep, when they need to order these different parts so that they can manufacture things. A major goal for them is to make sure they do not keep too much inventory and lose money there. So they can manage their inventory much more better if they have a good demand forecasting, right? How much demand they see in coming months, right? And based on that, they can decide how much to build, how much to order. Again, demand forecasting, the problems like demand forecasting are solved using data, not through traditional programming, rather using data. Right? We saw recommendation system, we saw a demand forecasting, or even let's say fraud detection. You have financial institutions like banks, and there you have a lot of transactions going through their net system. How do we recognize which transactions are legitimate and which transactions are fake, right? So again, we do this task of fraud detection using data, right? So we have started using data more and more to do very, very complex tasks that which may not be easily feasible if we do not, deploy this approach of using data. Now, there are a lot of things we can do I just gave you just 4 different examples. We had example from a video side. We have example from e-commerce side, from financial institutions, and from manufacturing companies, right? We can, but not only that, we can do lots and lots of things with data. Now, and the good part is every single organization in this world has a lot of data. Every single organization is generating a lot of data, and the data could be in the form of, usually we associate data in the form of the stable-like structure, like, which usually resides in RDBMS software like Oracle, DB2, and so on. But data can be in the form of text as well as your images. And we can use every kind of data to derive meaning out of it. Right? Even audio data as we can use for gaining some competitive advantage. Now the question is, how do organizations gain value from their data? And that brings us to the field of data science. Right? Data science is the field where organizations use data and gain insights about the business, about the markets, and take competitive advantage from there. Data science, right? Now, so in this case, we find basically a solution to business problem. First of all, there needs to be a business problem, and if an organization is using data science, they need to first of all define what is the business problem, and then we can see if that business problem can be solved using data, or in turn applying the tools and techniques that we learned in data science, whether we can solve that business problem. And so that's data science. Essentially, in data science, we try to solve a business problem using data. Now, this data science, as we discussed, I gave you examples, is applicable to every single industry. Every single industry can make use of the advances in data science. Right? It's not really restricted to media or manufacturing or healthcare, but every single industry, wherever we have data, can use data science. That means, the demand for people who know this field, data science, is growing, because as more and more companies realize that they can gain insights from their data, the demand for data science continues to grow. Right. So now let's understand how exactly this data science really works. Right. To understand how you or anybody can become a data scientist. Right. What exactly happens in data science? So let's look at that. So before we start, first thing is, as we discussed, before we apply data science, we need to know what is the business problem. So that usually is given by the business, not by the data scientist, but by the business teams, or the organization will define if this is my business problem. Now, once you have the business problem, let's say we want to say how much a house should cost in a particular city. Again, we have to Again, there are some anecdotal evidences, but let's say this is a business problem we want to solve. So we'll take that as an example and understand what are the different steps that we have to go through. What are the different steps that we have to go through in a data science project? So the first step is basically, first step is of course getting the business problem. Do not start a data science project without a business problem. The second step is of course data collection. We need a data which is relevant to the problem, right? So you need to get data which is relevant to the problem we are trying to solve. Now, data can come from multiple sources. It can be, we can gather it from internet using web scraping techniques, or there might be some public data sets available. A lot of universities around the world are open sourcing data sets which they have gathered, and we can make use of those data sets to solve a business problem. Or quite often, if most likely the organizations who want to solve their business problem will have the data. So they will be usually provide the data to us, right, to the data scientist, right? So it can be controlled and then collected. And once we have the data, we usually will store the data for some further analysis. Like the storage of data is important. We might store our data in say Excel, CSV form, or if data set is very, very small, then we can do this. Or if it is large, then usually we use relational databases like Oracle, SAP, HANA, and so on. And if data is extremely huge, then we might use big data platforms like Hadoop and Apache Spark and so on, right? So we have to have data. We need to get the data, and there has to be a way to store data, basically, right? Now, once we have the data, we usually carry out something called data cleaning. So data cleaning means quite often the data that we collect, it will have a lot of discrepancies. There might be duplicate things. There might be something which is values which are missing. So before we do make use of that data, we have to do data cleaning, right? So this is again a significant effort we have to carry out in these data science projects, right? Data cleaning. Now, the fourth step is once you have cleaned your data, in this case, you start exploring your data. And quite often the exploration part is done using different visualization techniques, right? Because you're going to look at a lot of data. Our brain is not built to look at a lot of data at once. So what we do, we try to summarize that data using visualization techniques. There are different visualization techniques, and by visualization, what we are doing, we are trying to summarize the data. And by doing this, we are able to gain some insights, not a whole lot, but at least some insights in our data. And that in itself could help us solve the business problem, or at least give us some idea on what is going right and what is going wrong, right? So visualization is a great technique to get a better understanding of the data. And a data scientist is someone who is good at using these visualization tools and techniques to gain insights, right? So we do data exploration and visualization. Once we have done that, as I said, we do get some information using visualization, but most often what we have to do, we have to basically, to gain a real good insights from the data, we have to do data modeling. And in data modeling steps, the key skill that is used is machine learning. So so we use machine learning algorithms to basically understand what is going in the data, what exactly data is telling us. So we build our ML models, machine learning models, on the data given, and then we use those models to basically start predicting on the newer data. So the most often that this is at the heart of data science, machine learning, and this is the step which actually provides us, gives us a way to understand the humongous of data that is at our disposal. Right? Data modeling. Once we have built our ML model, what we do next is we try to put it in production. Right? We try to put it in production. So again, model deployment is we have to work with, usually data scientists have to work with infrastructure teams and see what is the best way to deploy a model in production depending on the different scenarios. So that certain skills are needed in this area before you can put it in production. Now, putting a model in production is not the end of data scientist job. You have to continuously monitor how your model is behaving in production, because over a period data also changes. People change their behavior. That means data changes. That means model may not perform as well as it was when it was trained on older data. So we usually continue to retrain our data, our ML models, and keep redeploying them to make sure they stay up with the change in data. So to summarize, these are the 6 areas. First of all, your business should give you a problem that you need to solve. Then you need to find and collect the data relevant to the business problem, store it out. You have to clean the data, remove the missing things, or essentially remove the duplicates, handle missing areas. Then we use different exploration and visualization techniques to gain some insights from the data. We try to summarize our data using visualization and get some knowledge out of it. And the major part, biggest way to gain insight from our data is using data modeling, which involves machine learning. And once we have that, we basically deploy and continually optimize the ML models that we have. Right? So these are the 6 high-level areas of a data science project. Right? 6. Now, knowing this, we need to understand what are the skills that are needed to become a data scientist. Right? Knowing that these are the areas of work in data science project. What is needed to become? What skills do we need to become a data scientist? So first of all, we basically need to be familiar with some math and statistics topics or concepts. So especially we work with linear algebra, calculus, probabilities, right? These are the math topics or statistics topics that we need to be comfortable with. And we need to, if we have these skills, great. If not, we have to acquire these skills. Right? So that's the first area. Math and statistics and certain topics, linear algebra, calculus, and probability distribution. Now, we have to do a lot of work with the data. And how do we work with the data? Quite often, we have to use a computer language. So in general, in data science, we have Python and R, 2 languages which are quite popular. R was earlier more and more used in universities, and we basically got R in industry from that area. Python was more, not necessarily just for data science. Rather, it's a more general purpose computer language, but it has built a lot of libraries to work with data. So these are the 2 more popular languages. And if you are looking to become a data scientist, you have to know at least one of them. There's no need to learn both. It's okay to learn both, but there's no need. You can learn either Python or R. There are jobs where people look for either one of those. So that's the programming that we have to be familiar with. So math, programming. Now, other thing is because you're going to work with a lot of data, and quite often this data is available in RDBMS databases. So you need to work with this databases. You like MySQL, Oracle database, or IBM DB2. You need to be familiar with something called structured query language. Quite often we don't spell it out like this big way or just say SQL. Right? SQL you should be comfortable with because you need to understand what the data is and how what are things which are duplicate, missing, and all that. Right? So this is important for storing, collecting, and analyzing data. So standard SQL is a good skill to have. Basically, this allows you to work with RDBMS databases. Now, your database data could be in big data platforms like Hadoop and all. And so you will need familiarity with Hadoop and Apache Spark. Two big data platforms that can handle huge amount of data and can store data in a distributed way across multiple computers. So this is the fourth area. So first area was math, statistics. Second area was programming of either R or Python. Third is SQL. Fourth is big data platforms. Right? So you have to be knowledgeable in these areas. Fifth, which is at the heart of data science, is you need to know machine learning. Right? You need to know machine learning, and in machine learning, you need to be very, very comfortable in the topics of supervised learning as well as unsupervised, and somewhat in reinforcement learning. But these two areas are quite often deployed to model the data. Right? Again, you have a lot of different libraries which actually help us do machine learning. We have libraries like TensorFlow, Keras, Scikit, NumPy, NLTK, SciPy, and so many are there. Right? So we basically need skills in machine learning to model the data. Right? And finally, we need data visualization skills. As we talked about, we can use visualization to summarize the data. So, you have tools like Tableau, which is very popular, or Python-based tools like Matplot or Seaborn, and R-based tools like ggplot. So these tools allow you to visualize data in a meaningful way, and you need to have skills in working with these different tools, right? So these are the 6 different areas that you need to be familiar with, and you need to acquire skills. Now, how long does it take to gain these skills, right? As you can see, it's data science is not a not as just one language to learn or anything. There are a whole lot of concepts to learn. There's a language to learn. There's a math to learn. So in practice, data science, acquiring knowledge for the data science skills requires good amount of time, and it can take anywhere between 4 to 6 months. 4 to 6 months to gain these skills. So don't try to kind of learn data science within a few days or few weeks. It is good amount of effort. Because there are a lot more topic than usual, but you can start practicing this over a period. I mean, it's not that you have to wait for 4 to 6 months before deploying or before using these skills, but you constantly acquire and keep trying out these skills over a period so that it can become better and better. Now, if you are looking to become a data scientist, what are the things you need to have right now before you can become a data scientist, right? So prerequisites in terms of, first of all, you should have good problem solving skills, right? Problem solving skills. I mean, most often we are trying to solve a business problem, and working with huge amount of data, there will be a lot of places where you need to deploy your problem solving skills to move forward. That's one thing. Second thing is you should enjoy working with data. And I mean, quite often we get a little overwhelmed with all this data, but we basically should be comfortable, and because you will have help in the terms of visualization, machine learning to summarize the data, right? So, but you should be comfortable with data. And third thing is, because which is critical, is you should be willing to learn a computer language. If you have knowledge in any computer language, not necessarily Python or R, then you are at an already in an advantage, because every computer language has tried to do the same thing using different syntax, right? But the components of language remain same. So knowledge of computer language, or you should be willing to learn a computer language like Python or R. And that's a prerequisite. And of course, if you have a bachelor and master's degree, and hopefully with the math background, either engineering or commerce students, they will be, they will find it a little easier. Again, these are the prerequisites, not necessarily it means that if you don't have one of these that you cannot, you can. It's just that you need to put a little more effort to acquire these skills. All right. So these are the prerequisites. Now, how can you acquire these skills? And how can you acquire these skills? Let's look at that. From Great Campus, we have a postgraduate certificate program in data science, and this program has been designed in collaboration with IBM. So IBM is a well-recognized name in the industry, and this postgraduate certificate program is basically provided by IBM, and this course has been designed in consultation with IBM. So now let's look at what are the things that we cover in this course. So we covered the math and statistics, Python. We have data sciences with Python as well as with R. So this course number 2 is like data science with Python, where we learn about different components of Python which are useful in data science. We have a course on machine learning, as we talked about supervised learning, unsupervised learning. So we have a course on machine learning. Then we have a course where if you are looking to do with R, as I said, you can do data science either with Python or R. I mean, those are the two most popular languages. You can take either this one or data science with R with Python. And then we have a very detailed course on Apache Hadoop and Spark, the big data platforms that we talked about that gets used at a lot of organizations. And finally, we have the course which provides you the visualization, which gets you comfortable with visualization tools. And what we do is in this course, we basically focus on Tableau, which is the industry leading visualization tool. So you will learn about Tableau. So these are the 6 different courses in data science program at Great Campus, and this is and in addition to this, you do practice these acquired skills on capstone projects. So we have capstone projects for this program where you will be required to apply the learned skills and submit your assignments for. So this is capstone projects also done as part of this. Okay, so this is what in a nutshell data science as a career path will look like. If you have some questions, we can take a question at this moment. So Richard, there are, other, so question from Richard, I hope everybody can see it, is apart from K Campus, what are the other artificial intelligence, machine learning programs are there? And there are quite a few, to be honest. We have let's say Coursera, Udemy, you have, and again, the list goes on. So you can learn. Now, the thing is, what Grey Campus is doing differently is, first of all, they have aligned with with IBM, which is well known in the industry. So they have built this program in consultation with IBM. And second thing is, they basically have that certification is provided by IBM. So I think that's the two things. But yes, I mean, you can gain those skills from other areas, but these are the two areas of where I think the Grey Campus program shines. Charan, do you want to add anything to here?
Yeah. Apart from the certification, we also, align our course in a structure wherein you can easily take up this training and attain the certifications probably in the 6-month span of time.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So that's another thing. All right, Richard. So yes, I mean, there are different offerings. Again, this is not the only way, but the advantage with Grey Campus is the industry collaboration with IT. Okay, so there's another question. Can you explain more about machine learning? I'm still a little confused at what it is. So machine learning is basically, again, I have not dwelled big time in machine learning. This machine learning does take quite some time. But in general, what is machine learning? Machine learning is about building rules using data. And quite often we are not sure what the rules should be. And if the rules are not known or the logic is not known to us, we cannot code. So we use machine learning to build these rules or logic. And machine basically learns these logic or rules from data. Okay, so that will be a brief summary of machine learning. Again, it's a topic which we basically go very deep into in the course. All right, Charan, you go ahead, please. Go ahead if you have some addition to add.
No, I think.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Is that okay? All right. Any other question at this moment before we go to artificial intelligence? Please go ahead. All right. If not, let's look at the second area that we wanted to talk about, and that area is artificial intelligence. Right? You will hear AI. I mean, there has been tremendous hype around AI, and rightly so. But I mean, I'm sure everybody is familiar with this term, artificial intelligence. So let's first make sure we understand what is artificial intelligence. And what is artificial intelligence is essentially we try to build intelligent machines. Now, what qualifies as intelligent machine? Basically, we say machines are intelligent if they are able to do tasks which usually requires human intelligence. For example, right, we humans have the ability to see things around us, the vision power. Can machines have vision power? Right? That will be an artificially intelligent machine if it has a vision power. The other is like we humans have. We humans can understand each other the way we talk in English or different languages we use. We humans have this great capability to understand things, whether it's written or being spoken. Can machine have that skill or that intelligence to understand language, whether it's spoken or it's written? Right? Can machine apply reasoning like humans do? Right? So that's the area that's the field of artificial intelligence, where we try to build intelligent machines which can do tasks which similar to humans, like seeing the world or understanding language, reasoning with scenarios, right? Now, that's artificial intelligence. Now, question, some examples, like just like we looked at data science. So let's look at some examples. Most of you must be familiar with this, these tools like Google Home, Alexa, or even Siri, Cortana, and so on. Again, how do we build a program like Alexa or Siri, which can understand different languages and answer our queries? How we do that? Again, we use data, just like what we saw with recommendation systems and fraud detection. This thing also, we can build certain similar programs using data, right? Again, you might have be familiar with this another example that you would have seen is this app called Grammarly, and it's quite popular. At least it keeps coming on my YouTube feed every time I pick. So Grammarly, what it does, it tries to correct. If you're writing, how it tries to tell you what is the proper grammar to use. So which means it understands language. This app understands language. So this Grammarly app is built using data again, right? It is not built using human rules only. This is built using rules which are designed or learned by the machine, right? So this is understanding of language. The previous was understanding of language, and so on, right? So these are some of the examples. Now, in this case, I mean, if you can easily see that if we have to do this, humans can do this task, how to understand the language, whether it's being spoken or it's written. Humans understand, we can correct it. But how do we have a machine or help us with this? Well, that's the field of artificial intelligence, right? Now, even this. Now let's look at how do we build AI? How do we build artificial intelligence machines? So there are different ways to build artificial intelligence machines. So, something like finite state machines. Some of you might have read about it in colleges, or have finite state machines is an approach to build AI. Knowledge reasoning is another approach to build AI, right? But these are still research areas. Very little success is coming from it. But it's not that these fields are dead. So there are researchers in these areas throughout the world who are working in these fields and trying to who are trying to build AI using these methods. But most progress in AI world has come from this field of machine learning that we talked about, right? Where machine learns from data, right? So this machine learning has been powering the AI capabilities in machines, and within machine learning there's a subfield called deep learning. But deep learning has been all the stories that you have been learning in newspapers or in the website, different websites about AI. Those are powered by the field of deep learning, right? So that's how we are actually building artificially intelligent machine. Most often it is using deep learning, right? Now the question becomes, where do we use it? I mean, what kind of skills do we need? Where do we use it? Let's take a couple of examples to understand it better, right? Let's take a couple of examples. So let's say we have, quite often we have this, this is, I guess, a scenario across every country where some drivers might be jumping the red light, right? Again, it's not just common to one particular, everywhere you will see this. Now, can we build a program or an application which basically can keep monitoring the traffic And as and when anybody jumps the red signal, identify the number plate, what is the license plate number, and then send a fine report, or like I would say violation report to that person or organization that you have violated traffic rules and this is your fine, right? And it's a hard problem. If humans can do it, but it's just not easy for humans. It's just you cannot have humans standing 24/7 taking pictures, keep looking at pictures and all that. Rather, we can use a artificial intelligent machine to automate this entire setup. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? Let's understand what is needed to carry out this use case. First of all, you will need to have a camera on the red light. I mean, because you don't have humans, rather camera will become your eye, right? So you will have a camera and the camera feed will be sent to an ML model, machine learning model, which actually what it will do, it will try to predict. What it will try to predict? What is the license plate number of the vehicle which is violating a traffic rule or jumping the red line. So we can have an ML model which actually can look at the picture and tell us whether it's basically jumping. Second thing, not only jumping, it can come up with this particular bus. This is the license plate number who jumped the red line. Right? An ML model can do that for us. Right? And once we have that license plate number, we can do a lookup in the database and say, okay, who's the owner of this license plate? And then send a violation report to them, asking for fine to be filled. So this way we can actually, discipline the traffic much more robustly and save lives actually, because a person who is, basically if they know that they can be fined, they can be caught very easily, they try to be a little more disciplined, and disciplined driving can save lives, right? So this is, this is one example. Now, to implement this example, what is exactly needed? What is exactly needed? What kind of AI ML skills are needed to do this? So we will focus on the ML part. There are other skills. I mean, like, you might have other skills like, database lookups and all, a SQL knowledge and all. But what in the ML space, what kind of knowledge you will need? So you will need to learn about an algorithm, for example, one of the very popular ML algorithm to work with visual or images is convolutional neural network, or CNN for short. You will need to learn about that. You will also need to learn about a technique called object deduction. Object deduction, again, it will be in a computer vision area, how to deduct objects, how to deduct the number plate, how to read a number plate using ML models, right? You will need to learn about how do we pre-process or how do we handle images data, right? We need, because image is also data, it's pixels, right? So we will need to learn how do we process that information. Also, we will learn how do we deploy our models built in this case so that they can do these tracking in the real time, right? So different techniques, and so these skills are, basically the skills that we need come in the domain of computer vision, right? In the domain of computer vision, right? So those are the kind of skills you will need to learn, just to give an idea, right? This is one example. Now let's take another example. Quite often we have a lot of things to read. We have a lot of things to read. Now, I mean, like, for example, our emails and so on, right? In every profession, you will see that people are bombarded with lots and lot of information. Now, how do we make it easy for everybody who's bombarded with all these information, right? So to make it easier, what we can do, we can summarize the information. So rather than people going through entire several pages, can we summarize the information in say 1 or 2 sentences? Or can we summarize the information that is there in email in 3 or 4 words rather than looking at everything that is there inside, right? So who can take help from such a solution? Let's take some examples. Let's say medical professionals, they have to read through a lot of new journals, right? What new medicine is coming, what kind of new things are being developed, and they have to keep up with that. And it's very hard. Each journal could run into a lot of pages. Or lawyers who need to keep up with the new court rulings or new laws being made in the legislatures, assemblies of different countries. Or even everybody, as I said, all of us get a lot of emails. Will it be nice if a program can tell me, hey, what are the emails that need action, and what action, not just action, what action it needs from me? Can somebody summarize it for me? Right? So this is called text summarization. This example is called text summarization. And again, as you can see, it can be deployed across different industries. Right? Now, what kind of AI/ML skills we need to build this kind of tool? So let's look at this. So you will to build a program which can do summarization, you will need to understand something called recurrent neural network, or RNN for short. You will also you will need to learn about something called long short-term memory algorithm, or LSTM, and sequence to sequence model. And these are deep learning concepts, machine learning concepts that you will be learning. You will learn about something called attention mechanism. You will need to learn about something called word vectors, and text pre-processing. How do we handle text data? Right. So it comes in the realms of NLP, natural language processing. So previous example was computer vision, and this is natural language processing, the field of AI which deals with natural language. The computer vision is a field of AI which deals with visual world. NLP deals with language world, like audio data, text data, and so on. So these are the different kind of skills which we need to acquire to build a text summarizer. Now, how do we gain such skills? Again, Gray Campus has a program. Let me share that with you guys. There's a program, postgraduate program in artificial intelligence. Again, this program has been designed in collaboration with IBM, and so what gets covered in artificial intelligence program? Let's look at that. So first of all, you basically will learn Python, and some of the components that we learned with data science are common here as well, because it is artificial intelligence courses more focused on machine learning and deep learning, right? So you start with Python first of all. That's the first thing you will learn. Second thing is you will learn about different machine learning techniques, which is again common with data science, but here we go deeper in machine learning. And what we do is we start learning more of deep learning. And you're going to learn deep learning with a tool called, or a library called TensorFlow, which is a library for deep learning, open source by Google. So this is the third course. After you have done this, we're going to focus on 2 areas that we talked about. First of them is natural language processing, NLP. Remember the text summarization task? That comes under the area of NLP. The Google Home or Alexa comes under natural language processing, right? So those are so we're going to learn about different techniques under natural language processing. And then finally, we will focus on computer vision. Computer vision, basically where we learn how to deal with visual data, images, videos, and so on. how do we build that automatic traffic violation use case. So you will learn about different techniques, different algorithms in computer vision. And once we are done with it, just like what we did with data science, we do have capstone projects in both computer vision and natural language processing. So you're going to learn about, you're going to apply the learned skills in the capstone projects, right? So this is what the program, AI program, postgraduate program in artificial intelligence. And again, the certificate for this program is also provided by IBM, which is well recognized in the industry. Okay, so so we have, Grey Campus has a program on both data science and AI. So with that, let me know if you have any questions at this point. I will be more than happy to take a question at this time. Or before that, before we take a question, let's do a quick poll. Charan, do you want to run the quick poll before we take the questions?
Yes, thanks, Raju, for that.
All right. Thank you, Charan. So any question you guys have, we will be more than happy to answer those questions, either on data science, AI, or the programs offered by Grey Campus. There is a question, will you be going over what skills are required for career in AI? I mean, basically, is that question answered for you? I mean, we went through the skills, but and that's what we are showing, especially for NLP as well as computer vision. Those are the key skills that you will be learning. All right. Any other question at this moment? No other question? That's okay. You can always send your questions to support@greycampus.com. We will be more than happy to answer those questions. But thank you very much for joining. Charan, over to you. I mean, if you have anything to add.
I think that's about it. So if you guys have any other questions to ask, feel free to shoot an email to support@greycampus. And
yeah, this is the email and the phone numbers given for Grey Campus. Again, you can obviously reach out.